Hey people, Intro here, 1v1 Solstice Plateau, blue side. Gordian Vorenthul is a Warboss, a melee hero walking through objects, very good offense, disruption and support from the front lines. And up against on the red side, Deimos with a Warp Spider Exarch, a teleporting hero fighting in ranged combat by default, great for capping and harassing, some powerful control. I think out of all of the heroes, the one that would annoy the Warboss the most is perhaps the Warp Spider Exarch. So I'm looking forward to him getting quite angry here. Double shooters up for Gordian. Howling Banshees out for Deimos. There they are. With those fancy power weapons and really bad sidearms. You should get some nicer pistols, ladies. Why are Shuriken pistols so bad in this game? Now, what are they going to run into first? Are they going to run all the way up to harass this? Warboss is here ready to stomp them. They're going for that contested wreck point, I think, using their fleet. Yep. Oh, they don't have fleet yet, do they? Need the aspect first. Well, they're running at them. This is a bad place to run, ladies. Yeah, they saw the Warboss and got out of there. It's a bunch of Daka too. Look at the damage they took. Didn't drop a model. That's alright. What's going on over here? Just some Guardians, double gens up for Deimos, suggesting we are indeed going to see some Rangers and or Shuriken cannon action. Sluggers. Well, they found the Guardians, but they also found the Warp Spider Exarch, and there's too much ranged firepower for them to run into, I think. Warp Spider teleports ahead, does some forward capping. Gonna be a double cap, I think, though, for the Orks very early on. Deimos into a Shuriken cannon platform. Almost got the decap there. Maybe they could have got it. Would have been risky, though, wants to keep them in play. Now, are these things you can actually get into? There seems to have blocked up a bunch of the entrances on his buildings, on his garrisons. So I don't think you can get into them. Maybe ones over here you can? I'm not sure. Maybe you can't garrison any of this stuff. Eldar taken contested victory point back and their natural back. Banshees are relatively low health though. Almost on half hit points there. And here comes a Warboss. He's kind of pissed. Got no XP whatsoever. Has anything actually died yet? Did the shooters drop a model? Oh, they did. They did drop a model. Yeah, Banshees didn't want to mess with the Warboss and his stomp. Sluggers chasing Guardians. Shuriken tries to set up. Does set up. And now Storm Boys in play. Power melee squad that can jump. They are here to hard counter the Guardian weapon team. Here comes the Warboss too. Might see angry bits on this guy, giving him some extra mobility to try and get into and onto these shurikens. Now there's two of them. If he comes in from an angle and charges, they won't have time to reface and shoot at him. Warp Spider getting some decapping done. They don't have their natural though, the Eldar. They are going for the Orky natural here. And Orks are taking the contested victory point. Contested power point is already blue for the Orks. There's some Daka. Warp Spider being frustrating as always. Storm Boys on capping duty now. Another gen up for the Eldar. What about the Orc? They only have a node up over here. Banshees on the prowl with Shuriken support, which can be very dangerous. Oh, triple Shurikens for Deimos. Can be dangerous because if you suppress stuff with the Shuriken, they can't run away from the Banshees. Orcs just backing off there, which is smart, I think. Haven't seen them really commit to a big army on army fight. Is it kicking off in the mid though? More Storm Boys hit the field for Gordian Vorenthul. Sluggers are persuaded to leave. The stomp does hit decently well on the Banshees. Another special goes in. Getting some decent hits. Does around I think it's 42.5 melee DPS by default, the Warboss. Pretty good. It's got a decent sidearm. That shooter he's got. Gonna go for that contested victory point now. Storm Boys probably want to save their jump for actual Shuriken cannons. Also don't want to jump into a grenade or run into a grenade, so they're just backing off the Guardians, as you can see. That grenade is a big threat potentially. Here we go. They're going in. There's the grenade. Oh, chucked it over them. Chucked it way over them. Wasn't expecting them to charge, I suppose. Stormboy's off the field. I don't think I've seen a Stormboy die yet. It's a miracle. It's a little orky miracle. Shuriken gets back to the contested victory point. Gordian is all out of resources. Oh, gets the enhanced custom shooter. Oh, they cancelled it? No, they didn't. It went in. 33 piercing DPS. Gives him the same melee damage. And it has shoot 'em good, which is pretty awesome. There it is. Uses it to disrupt that Shuriken. Banshees counter-initiate on the Stormboys. They don't have an aspect yet, though, so they couldn't war shout. Getting some decent specials. There's Ardboys up on the Stormboys now. 25% damage resist. Banshees still chasing them. And Banshees are quite fresh there. Power melee kicks, everything going on. Without Ardboys, they would have wiped pretty badly, although I guess without Ardboys, they wouldn't have kept them in play. Banshees now in trouble. They did get their aspect in there, were able to war shout. They need to escape with it. I think they need to escape that. Down they go. I think Deimos was trying to micro the Guardians to do a grenade and stuff and get away from the Stormboys after they did that war shout. And Banshees wipe. Just as they got their aspect as well. 500 to 341 on the VPs. Tier 2 for Deimos. Would love to get a Wraith Lord up to fight these double Stormboys. We'll see if they can save that much. Need to just try and defend their power now. Really don't want to lose this power. I mean, they have double Shurikens to defend it. But Gordian has double Stormboys. They've got upgraded shooter boys as well with big shooters and burners on the sluggers. They spent tons of power in tier 1. Nothing wrong with that, of course. These guys looking for a grenade. Maybe. They got flamed. Okay, Shuriken setting up. Stormboys are going to jump them. Which one do they jump, though? Jump the one on the right, yeah, because this one isn't covering it. Aiming, watch that, able to suppress the Shuriken also, which helps. And the Stormboys get in. And they might wipe this thing. They might wipe it. They are going to wipe it, aren't they? Yeah, Deimos should have got it the hell out of there. As soon as the Stormboys jumped, the one on the right, the other one was under a huge amount of threat. This is Warp Spiders coming in. They can do great things against melee squads. Frustrate them with their teleportation. But as it stands, the Stormboys just jumped right on them immediately. And they dropped a few models immediately. They do some really good DPS, those Warp Spiders, though. Meanwhile, Sluggers were trying to bash gens with their burners. And the Warboss is grabbing VPs. I'm sure the Warp Spider's been teleporting around, capping things as well, while I've been watching the fights. Gordian's still in tier 1. They can go tier 2 very, very soon, though. Is there any way they can get a Wraith Lord up? Maybe. Maybe. Just had to spend to reinforce those Warp Spiders, though. Here they are. I think it's worth it, because you can use the Warp Spiders or the Warp Spider Exarch to teleport in and tie up any tank busters or anything like that, or looters that they try to get to counter. And you don't really want a Death Dread to counter a Wraith Lord either. So they're relatively well equipped, I think, to get a Wraith Lord up and do some work with it. We'll see. Aha! Wraith Lord it is. Awesome. Warboss is level 2. Puts Ardboys on himself, but has to run. Yeah, these Warp Spiders could do massive amount of work for Deimos if they can be microed well. Real shame I don't have those Banshees still. Deimos. Stormboys down to 3 models here. Not sure why they are staying in the field, jumping into the path of a Shuriken. I thought maybe they were getting ready to use Calder Boys, but the Warboss is far away, as you can see. Wraith Lord is up. And what does Gordian do about this? It might be just get Power Claw, get Tank Busters, and hope. Or double Tank Busters it might have to be. To still tie them both up with the 2 teleporting units, of course. Heavy Gauge Death Spinner on the way for the Warp Spider Exarch. That will shut down the Warboss in a big fight, maybe. Or just use it on Storm Boys to mess them around. Do they have their... No, they don't have any Knob Leaders. They're going for War Truck, Gordian. Not sure if they've seen the Wraith Lord. Now they would have. Able to get a hit, maybe. Got this big... I believe they called it a Ghost Glaive Sword or something like that. Big heavy melee weapon. Does more damage per hit than a Dreadnought, but does less DPS. He attacks quite slowly, the Wraith Lord. But that huge damage per hit is awesome. If you're smacking retreating units or something like that. Here is the War Truck. And it is indeed Tank Buster. It's going to be a Tank Buster War Truck combo. So they can try and duck inside of the War Truck if they get tied up and that kind of thing. Which means we might see the Bright Lance shoulder mounted on that thing to take the War Truck out. Or maybe Death Blades from this guy. Power Blades, sorry. Not Death Blades. Death Blades would be cool. Whatever that would be. Okay. Shuriken needs to just start moving, buddy. Here's the War Truck. I assume Tank Busters are inside, but I'm not sure. There's the jump. I thought the Shuriken was going to get out of there. Maybe it is. Look at that damage from those Warp Spiders, though. That is huge DPS. Bright Lance it is on the Wraith Lord. Anti-vehicle shoulder-mounted weapon going for the War Truck. Nothing here to tie up the Tank Busters aside from the Wraith Lord itself. Special attack, which doesn't use its sword for some reason. Just backhands things. Might be able to get the War Truck right here, right now. Because it can fire on the move. There we go. War Truck is down. It is a Power Claw Warboss, though. Where is the Warp Spiders? Where's the Warp Spider Exarch to help out this Wraith Lord here? Here's the Warp Spider Exarch. There's Heavy Gauge on the Warboss. Does the Wraith Lord risk turning around, though, and taking Tank Buster shots? It might have got itself into too much trouble here, the Wraith Lord. It chased the Tank Busters all the way in. 393 to 341. Down goes the Wraith Lord. The Warp Spiders just weren't in place to help it out there. Had to do a lot of its own heavy lifting going after those Tank Busters. Not sure where the Warp Spiders were. Maybe they were healing up. But the Warboss is now an offensive powerhouse immediately when they get this Power Claw. 95 heavy melee DPS. And that's the numbers at level 1. As this Warboss levels up, it does more and more melee damage. Gets up to over... It's like a 30-something% melee damage boost if you get this guy to level 10. Pretty nuts. That'll take him over 100 melee DPS. Heavy melee DPS, that is. Storm Boys get their Knob Leader. What about the other fellas? They're still reinforcing. What about the Sluggers? Nope, Sluggers don't have one. I think they've managed things super well, though, Gordian. In terms of when to spend their resources, what to spend it on. They didn't rush into a bunch of squad leaders in Tier 2. Hard Boys up on the Storm Boys. Double Warp Spiders now for Deimos. That could be nasty. We saw what they could do there. Especially if they start using Crack Shot a bit more. I don't think I've noticed them use it. Oh, they do have an anti-grav grenade. That's very handy for a big melee brawl. Well, what the Orks would want to be a big melee brawl, you can shut it down with an anti-grav grenade. Warboss level 3. Warp Spider Exarch level 2. Now, what do you do with your Warp Spider here? Do you just go like capping like crazy and avoid big fights with the rest of your army, or do you try to go in on a big fight? Use your Warp Spider to shut down the Warboss, that kind of thing. Warboss goes down. That's a big win. Storm Boys coming in, though, and they're stunning on landing now, those guys. Warp Spider trying to put some pressure on the Storm Boys, but those guys just teleported in there, so they can't teleport away. Down goes the Warp Spider Exarch, though. Grenade. Does some disruption. I don't think it killed anything. The fight started off well, getting that Warboss down quickly, but losing the Warp Spider Exarch is a big deal. Providing a lot to Deimos' army in terms of capping power and that heavy gauge filament. Some power bashing orcs here. What is this? It's other Warp Spiders capping. They have their Exarch over there too. These guys don't have their Exarch. Or their aspect. Full power bash though from the Orks. This is Storm Boys with Knob Leader. They killed a Warp Spider. Warp Spider Exarch is back. The Warboss is not back yet. Shuriken. Shuriken did not suppress those guys quickly, did it? I guess it was quite far away. Storm Boys have dropped one model. They do have their improved rocket packs too. What about the other fellas? They have their Knob Leader, but they don't have the rocket packs. Gives them a longer jump range, doesn't it? Yeah, 15 longer as well. That's a big deal. And gives you Bomber Boys. Warp Spider teleports ahead. Do some forward capping. Can they get a cheeky triple cap here, the Eldar? Maybe they can. Shurikens are trying to grab it. What was that? Oh, there's those trying to build a shield and I kind of cancelled it. That shield provides perfect cover until it's shot down, that is. Which is pretty fun. Warp Spider Exarch is going to finish the cap. They are going to get a triple here. 378 to 224 as the triple kicks in. Do both the Warp Spiders? Yes, they both have their Exarchs and they both have their aspects. So they are dealing huge amounts of DPS. Can they be used well here? Where's the Exarch? They are not in this fight. They can't use the anti-grav grenade. We could crack shot on the Warp Spiders though, giving him more range and more damage. Global ability of the Warp Spider Exarch. Sluggers have their Knob Leader now. Lots of dangerous melee in Gordian's army, supported by those Shooter Boys, of course. Bomber Boys in on the Warp Spiders. Ouch. But that's the end of those guys for this fight. Now these guys are doing damage. Shuriken supports them. Shuriken's going to get jumped though. Not before it suppresses the Storm Boys. Oh, they jumped the Warp Spiders. And these guys will jump the Shuriken. Okay. Yeah, just wasn't quite positioned to fight that effectively. They need to be really sharp with their Warp Spiders. And hopefully have this guy around to anti-grav things. But they are busy capping. And I mean, capping wins the game. Speaking of capping, Tank Busters take their natural. 318 to 222 on those VPs. Where are the Tank Busters? Are they going to bash power now? I guess there's nothing to bash. Tank Buster Barrage does knock the Warp Spider far enough to stop the cap there. And Bomber Boys coming in. Bomber Boys on a single entity there. They're really trying to kill this Warp Spider. They might be able to get him. Yeah, they do get him. The Knob Leader gets him. Big ouchies. Another Bomber Boys. Well, that's one way to wreck the Warp Spider. Just Bomber Boy them whenever you can. With abandon. Slugger's in trouble over here. Grenade almost wipes. They might be able to get them. They do get them. Nicely done by Deimos. He's got triple Warp Spiders now, and why not? Go all in on those Warp Spiders. Death Dread on the way for Gordian. They can get haywire grenades with their aspects. Another Bomber Boys. That's really painful because of course they can't teleport if they're on the ground. Wipes them. Wipes them. Bomber Boys doing work. I mean, you are sacrificing a model to do it. But getting huge gains off it. We got Warp Spider Exarch back on the field. Warboss is still down, by the way. Warp Spider Exarch is now level 3. Almost level 4. What do you get now if you're Deimos? Do you get a Falcon? Tried to control the Tank Busters and get a Falcon. Or do you keep going with the Warp Spiders? I don't think you get Dark Creepers. I don't think you get Wraith Guard or Fire Dragons. You could try another Wraith Lord. Maybe. That's a massive investment of resources. I guess the Falcon also is. You could try to go tier 3 and try to get Seer Council up, which should do pretty well in his melee fights, even though these guys are leveled up. They'll take the attention away from the Warp Spiders, allow them to deliver the DPS. Although there is a Death Dread. Seer Council won't like to fight this thing very much. It's got burners and bits already. It is spending, reinforcing stuff now, Deimos. Trying to go tier 3 I think is a bit too much. With the VP deficit. There's the anti-grav grenade. First time I've seen it used. Storm Boys coming in. Gonna need to be careful, Mr. Warp Spider Exarch. Oh look, the Storm Boys, oh they're capping. Are they capping? No. What are they doing? It's like they couldn't surround the Warp Spider there or something weird. Death Dread meanwhile. Uh-oh. Almost took out what is now a Bright Lance, but gets haywired. And now they're just pouring all of this piercing DPS in, hoping they can get this Death Dread down. It's a really bad damage type to try and take a vehicle down with. And Death Dread stomps away. Who needs the Warboss, eh? He's just shouting instructions while he takes a nap over here. Warp Spider need to teleport out. There's the Bomber Boys again. There we go. Hard Boys and use your choppers. There we go. That's what the Warp Spiders can do for you. Just disintegrating those Storm Boys. Huge DPS. That was well played by Deimos. I mean, they took the Bomber Boy hit, but it's either teleport away from the Bomber Boy or teleport away from their jump. And I think it's probably more worthwhile to get away from their melee than a Bomber Boy hit. Probably. Double cap here for Gordian. Deimos does go Wraith Lord. It's a big risk, but it's potentially big reward. Oh, they anti-grabbed themselves. No garrisons here for the Warp Spider Exarch to take. So they're stuck fighting those Storm Boys. Well, these Warp Spiders are so low. The Storm Boys can jump after them maybe. Killed 2. Bomber Boys on the other fellas. And now the Storm Boys leave. They took that Bomber Boy quite well into level 2, those Warp Spiders. And now they're being used in melee to get rid of the shooters. More Storm Boys here. Only 3 models though, and no Nob Leader. Might eat a grenade. No, they ran away. I think they were scared of the grenade. Down to 29 VPs is Deimos. Oh, that is another Death Dread. Does not have burners and bits. We do have the Wraith Lord up. I don't even know what happened to the first Death Dread. I thought it got away and then I lost sight of him. Forgot that it existed. Here's the first Wraith Lord. I don't see a wreck for a Death Dread, so it must have been blown up. But the second Wraith Lord is moving towards where these 2 natural victory points are. They're so close together, which is great for Warp Spiders and stuff. There's a triple for Deimos. 2 level 4 Storm Boys. They're starting to lose a lot of models in every fight though, aren't they? That Warp Spider damage is starting to be a problem. And Deimos has tons of red, so they can throw crack shot in quite a lot. Here comes the Wraith Lord. Wraith Lord versus Death Dread. Wraith Lord wins this fight. Has more DPS and more hit points. And there's a Haywire Grenade and a Bright Lance just to make sure they win the fight. So I wonder if they'll get the shoulder-mounted Shuriken Cannon now to punish this infantry. Oh, there's the game. What happened? Did Gordian concede? Or did Deimos concede? I don't know. I think Gordian conceded. Because they're on 0 power, the Warboss is down, and they've got to fight a Wraith Lord. I'm not sure though. You'll have to wait until the end screen to see who actually won this. I'm pretty sure Gordian conceded, but you can wait for the score screen to see. Had a level 4 Warboss, was down for a long ass time, and had the Power Claw. And Deimos with a level 4 Warp Spider Exarch. Did they really win this on 29 VPs? Because of that Wraith Lord appearing. Big risk, but it paid off, I guess. Gordian did not want to fight this thing, did not want to fight it at all. They still had tank busters. They still had tank busters. They could have revived the Warboss with the claw. I am surprised that they conceded, if indeed they did. I don't know why Deimos would have conceded. Anyway, whoever won, it was a good game. And there you have it. Thank you for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.